Okay, can you start by telling us your name, and does it have any cultural meaning?
My name is Johnson Akbojoto Ojo. The name Akbojoto is one of my cultural names, actually my very first name. And in my ethnic group, which is Urobo, every name has a cultural meaning. And the name of Akbojoto, the meaning of Akbojoto is when there is life, there is hope.
Wow. What city were you born in? And can you describe your childhood home and where it was?
I did not actually grow up in my original state. My grandfather and his son, my dad, migrated to the then western state. There were 3 states in Nigeria: the northern state, the eastern state, and the western state. So in the 40s, my grandfather migrated to the western state, and they live in a small town called Olota, where I was born. To the American standard, you can actually call it a village, because the little town is not big enough to be called a town.
Okay. What were your parents' occupations?
My dad, well, my grandfather was a trader. He traded in cocoa, beans, palm kernel, and palm oil, and he was also a money lender. And my dad learned from his father about this very trade, and he became a trader and also a money lender, buying and selling, or rather shipping of these cash crops to the middlemen, who in turn shipped them overseas. And he became very well known in an 8-mile radius as one of the greatest and honest merchants in the area.
What was your role in the family, and what were your responsibilities?
Fortunately or unfortunately, I was born as the first male child of the family. We have 3 sisters ahead of me, but usually the first son plays a very big role of the leader of the family, and actually takes the role of the father in the absence of the dad. And when, of course, when the father dies, he becomes the father to all the siblings. And my role as the senior son is to make sure that I take care of my other siblings, and at the same time be a responsible leader to make sure that when my dad does pass on, I'll be able to carry on the legacy of the family.
Okay. What role did your father play in your community?
My dad was I consider him a very influential man because of the little wealth that he had, and he was very well respected, and he's actually one of the chiefs, to a point that they set up what we call it the Nigerian system in the good old days, meaning in the 40s and the 50s. They have what we call traditional rulers, who actually are able to hold a court within their own setting, community. And if they can't settle cases within that traditional court, it is then referred to the customary court, where you have recorders and in some cases some lawyers, but you don't get lawyers until you get to the magistrate court. So my dad was actually heading one of the traditional courts.
Wow. Okay. Was education compulsory for everyone?
Education is not compulsory for everyone per se, but it is encouraged that people go to school, because it's not compulsory in the sense that not many people can actually afford to go to school. In those days, even though elementary school was free in my time, many of the students still have to buy the books and buy the uniform, and not too many people can afford it. Luckily, we were privileged to be able to afford all those things, and were able to go to school. And some of those people that finished elementary school didn't go further than, didn't go to high school, and didn't go to college. But many of them.
But you did.
I did, and I was lucky. My dad can afford it.
Okay. Did you attend any church or religious services?
Growing up as a child, I did not actually go to church. There are 3 different religions in Nigeria. You have what they call the native or the traditional religion that believe in their ancestors, and the Christian type of religion, and mostly Catholic and Anglican at that time. But Anglican, which is a Protestant, also have the Methodist. So I went to an Anglican primary school, and I started going to church. My dad never went to church, but if I had something, an event in the church, he will come. And then when I left elementary school, I went to an Anglican, what we call secondary school per se, and I also attended Anglican churches. But when I went to high school, the high school I went to was a Methodist high school, and at that time I was actually confirmed a Methodist, and I've been a Methodist since then up till now.
Okay. Why did you decide to come to America?
Well, many of my cousins went to Europe, to the United Kingdom per se, and I was going to follow their footsteps, but I think whenever they came home, they were very rigid in their customs, and I wanted an environment where I would be free to explore and to do things I want to do without being held to a specific standard. Even though myself, I can't be considered as somebody that believed in maintaining a good cultural standards. And that is one of the reasons I decided to. America offered me that opportunity, in the sense that in my geography and world history, I learned a lot about America, and I learned a lot about the culture. I learned about all the different states, and also the educational system. And I decided to come to the States instead of going to United Kingdom.
Okay. Was assimilation difficult for you?
Initially, it wasn't difficult for me, because I actually had the opportunity to work with a lot of Americans when I worked for Shell BP at that time in the early 70s. So I understood some of their cultures at that time. But when I came in, I came through the south of the United States. And I was surprised at the level of discrimination that I witnessed in the South. And I think it was a shame to see some towns that were actually separated into black and white neighborhoods. The only thing that they have in common was the town square, they call it. And blacks are not allowed to go to the white areas, and the white areas were not allowed to, well, they don't even care to go to the black area, so there was no what I call the freedom to move from one community to the other. It was a little town they call Fayette, Missouri, very close to Columbia University, where we were.
What have you learned from your Nigerian upbringing that you wanted to pass along to your children?
Growing up in my type of family, we believe in industry. You can see that my dad, from my earlier statements, that my grandfather was a very hard-working trader and a moneylender, and also my dad also took after his dad. They believe in industry. We work very hard side by side with my dad whenever we came home on vacation from school. I was in the boarding house in all the schools that I went to, but whenever we came home on holidays, we worked side by side with our dad. We're going from little town to little town, from village to village. We believe in hard work, and also in absolute honesty. My dad would tell you that it's better to tell the truth and die than to tell the lie and live. So I would like to pass those two attributes from my family and growing up to my children.
What great Nigerian historical events have you experienced?
The only one I can actually remember was when Nigeria, as a nation, obtained their independence from United Kingdom in 1960. I was in elementary school then. It was a huge celebration. My elementary school then, I would call it primary school, we have to walk about 4 miles to get to another bigger city where all the schools in the district, over 30 somehow schools, came together to celebrate the independence of Nigeria, the freedom, Nigeria obtaining their freedom from United Kingdom. Everything we had in those days used to be on Her Majesty's service, the Queen of England, and now we no longer have to say on Your Majesty's service. So we were happy. We didn't know what it actually meant. All our teachers was telling us that we now have we are now a new nation, and we've obtained our freedom, and there was a national anthem that came with it that we all have to learn. We nicely adorned with all best tennis shoes. Many people didn't have tennis shoes growing up, and with our school uniform we walked. There are no vehicles to take us except those that have bicycles, and we went to the bigger town and went to a huge soccer field. You guys call soccer, well, we call soccer football back then. And each school with their headmasters and have to march around the field one by one, and then at the end we had a nice refreshment before we start coming back. So that was a big thing, witnessing Nigeria obtaining its her independence from United Kingdom.